Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Hardcore Wrestling Radio's In the Moment. I am your hardcore host, and I am joined by a good friend of mine, Skulldron Knight, or as I call him, Scully. Scully, what's shaking?
Not much, Rick. Fans will probably know me as Joseph Knight. This is Lord Skulldron is my new gaming name. Well, I've had it for years. It's going to be made public now. So we can go into that later, Rick. I'm pretty much, you can call me Skulldron Retro, just Skulldron or Scully, whichever one.
I like Scully. I think Scully's great. It's easier for me to remember.
Now I got to find Mulder, damn it.
Well, let's move on to the topic at hand. Most of you know, that Ronda Rousey pretty much got squashed in her last fight. I don't remember about who she fought. I just knew that she pretty much was very, she kind of, you know, got away from all the media and stuff. She didn't talk to nobody. She didn't promote it. It seemed like she was just detached. I guess that was the word I was looking for. About that whole fight, Joe. What do you think? Your thoughts on that fight?
Well, put it like this: she lost faster than CM Punk, but from reports I'm getting, she wasn't into the fight. She just wasn't. It wasn't her. She just wasn't into it, and she just did it for the money. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna get paid. Take a dive. Boom. I don't care more. Because even when she walked out, she kind of just didn't even stick around to hug the winner like they normally do. She just packed her stuff and walked away. It's kind of, interesting that she would do that. But Rick, there's another question. Is Ronda Rousey damaged goods now?
When people say that about because she had such a winning streak and then she lost and lost, you got to look back, and this is a little bit off topic, look at Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson, would just knock people out, squash them, boom, boom. You couldn't even blink an eyelash. And then when he had that first loss, his career started to go downhill. And he realized that eventually boxing just wasn't for him. Or at least he had to move on to the next chapter in his life. Damaged goods in UFC? Yeah, possibly. But in general, absolutely not. She's got 3 movie deals coming up. So that shows you right there and then that she's making a transition. Sometimes those transitions are not easy. Now, the main reason why we're talking about this is because for about the past 2 years, when she faced off again, well, I wouldn't say faced off, when she had that little segment with Stephanie McMahon, where she pretty much got her to the ground, they've been talking about bringing her back for one more match, and of course, the WWE would not say if she is or isn't. They've always said never say never. And now there are some people that are saying she will never come back. Well, I don't buy that. Do I see she's going to happen, at this year's WrestleMania? Probably not. At next year's, who knows? But I think it is a matter of time before the WWE does bring her in. And Joe, we talked about this probably about a year and a half, 2 years ago when we first saw her at WrestleMania, and we both said that bringing a fighter in who is undefeated, who is dominant, usually, and for only to have her lose to other wrestlers, does not give her any real validity. It kind of just makes it all like a joke. Now, the opposite could be said.
You know what? I think at this time in her career, she's looking to do other things. Like you said, she's got movies. She's got, other things that she could do. She is, an attractive woman, too. So that goes for her looks. As far as the person that beat her, I couldn't even understand what she was talking about. The girl couldn't even speak English. She was like,
well, I think...
Yeah. But the point is, could this be a step that maybe her going to WWE?
Well, as I said before, I don't think it's going to happen anytime relatively soon. I think it's going to be more about if or when, when the right timing. It's all about timing. Anybody who knows anything about any kind of business, whether it's movies, sports, it's all about the right time. Now, if they brought her back last year for the fight, it could have worked. Or at least it was Stephanie versus, it could have been like a squash. Now, I think she's like, look, I want to just try the things. I want to get away from the spotlight. I want to be in the movies where I don't have 50,000 people in my face, unless of course they're shooting a camera or their fellow actors. Um, and I think that's what it is. So I can be wrong.
Yeah, there's one thing also. She could do a lot of movies with The Rock, which that also opens up the doors for her. If she gets into action movies and actually transfers over from, MMA fighter to action star, that could open up a lot of doors. I mean, she's got skills, she's got the looks, you know, she's not much of a talker. She's kind of, in a way, I look at it like she relates to me like if she was Nancy Benoit, beautiful but dangerous.
Well,
Didn't even have to talk much.
Well, again, I think she probably maybe this would be a reason why she's going into the acting a little bit because she was more like actions speak louder than words, and she defines that very thing. And maybe by going into acting, she can loosen up a little bit more. Maybe gain some of those mic skills. Wrestling. We say it all the time in wrestling. It's wrestling is the last line. You've got to be able to do other things. Yes, you've got to have that draw, but you have to have a personality and you have to have mic skills. For all we know, yeah, while she's doing movies, she'd be working on some wrestling skills. And you know what? She may very well say, hey, you know what? This is the movie business. I like this. I may make an appearance at WrestleMania, but I'm not going to do a fight. She is a celebrity. And regardless where she goes or what her path she takes from UFC on, she's going to be recognized.
Yeah, now, here's the thing. If she does go into, I want your opinion on this. She goes into the WWE, and let's say she starts beating up on the divas there. Obviously, she's going to have a super edge over all of the divas, no matter, or women wrestlers. I'm so used to calling them divas. Would people look at it as like, oh, you couldn't win at real fighting, now you have to go to phony fighting to make an income? Would it damage her appear? Let me rephrase it. Would it damage her more? No, would it damage her more than anything else?
Well, I understand the direction you were going, and I'm going to be honest with you again. This is where I disagree, because if you remember back in the Attitude Era, we had a fluctuous of U.S. a plethora. I have a lot of shitty language. Don't mind me, guys. I just smoked a little weed. But long story short, we saw wrestlers such as oh my god, I can't even think of his name now. Ken
Shamrock.
Ken Shamrock, thank you. We had those wrestlers, those UFC fighters come over, and they even tried doing that one pathetic fight when he came over. It was like a one and done thing, but he wrestled. Did he ever win a title? No, but you know what? He was recognized as Ken Shamrock. And there was a couple of other names. Again, don't remember them, but and that could be the same thing that would happen with her. She might come in, do a few matches, and be gone, and they say, "Oh yeah, I kind of remember her being in there." Dan the Beast Severn was over and made the transition, a very short one. I think Tank Abbott went there, but I think he went nowhere because he's just an asshole.
Yeah, I think pretty much, I think the difference between Ronda Rousey and the other MMA fighters, you say, besides her being female, is I think she has more of a look, and it'll be different. She just needs more credibility again. I think she needs to really train hard, come back to a fight, beat someone, and then call it. Or, movies is not going to be enough, even if she does superior acting. I think she needs to really get in there and.
Again, you're kind of. I think we're agreeing to disagree on this one because again, if she went and fought, let's say she won and fought, and she won and fought for a few more years, she was undefeated, wins the title, then she loses the title and goes to the WWE, or just draws the title and goes to the WWE. It's going to be the same conversation we had 2 years ago. It just is not going to fit. You don't want somebody who's dominant in a fighting ring and then go to a kayfabe wrestling and see her lose. It's just not going to hold any weight. Brock Lesnar was the only person who could truly made that transition back and forth because first he was an athlete. He was an actual wrestler before he even hit wrestling. And somebody's eating in the background. Joe, you munching on your munchies again?
No, I'm actually going through stuff in my bag, and I'm just looking for certain things, just making sure I got everything all set here.
Okay. Well, you know what?
Got my drugs, got my drinks, got everything in here. Time to get ready. But
yeah. Well, it's all right. I'm packing my pipe for another hit. But again, I think we're just kind of going in circles here, and I think that we're going to wrap this up. My final thoughts: she's going to go into acting, and I think she's doing that to work on a personality, or that just may be her transition. That could be it. We may, like I said, she may be just another, a cameo appearance for wrestling. So time will tell, as I always say. Time will tell.
You know what character I would like to see her in? I think a good character would be like Cheetah, a Wonder Woman enemy, or one of those. Now with superhero movies being a thing, and with Wonder Woman come out, her being Cheetah will fit nicely because she has the look and build. I think that would be a good role if somebody hit into it. If you're looking at Marvel movies, I would love to think maybe an X-Men or something like that, a Phoenix or something similar. Fans, if you can come up with something that you think what character Ronda Rousey will fit either in a DC universe or in a Marvel universe, put your comments below.
Absolutely, and as we are Hardcore Wrestling Radio over in our chat room, and that's in the group sections, HWR chat room. We want you to talk about anything that has to do with wrestling. We're not one of these groups that says, well, you can say this and this and this, but you can't say this, and 50,000 other rules. We're pretty much a free-for-all with the exception of a few obvious, but I'm not going to get into that. Joe and I, we also work on reviews on other things, movies, music, what have you. Joe, tell everyone about it.
Absolutely. It's called Skulldron's Retro Reviews, as I am Lord Skulldron. We pretty much talk about everything in regards to mostly the retro stuff, arcade games, console games, classic 70s, 80s movies. And we also talk about a little bit of today, which was, Rick, we're going to be doing a review soon, Star Wars Rogue One.
Yeah.
So fans can follow me on Twitter at Skulldron. Again, that is at Skulldron. It doesn't get any simpler than that. And you can follow me on Facebook, on our Facebook page at Skulldron's Retro Warriors group. So if you have a chance, go on Facebook.com, look for groups, Skulldron's Retro Warriors. There's also a like page with the same name.
All right. So for Lord Skulldron Knight, I'm your hardcore host, Rickhead, saying we'll see you when we see you.
Pass that pipe over, Rick.